Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.
Now, I've just come out for a Masjid Mubarak after reading the first prayers of 2020 behind His Holiness Hazrat Musleh Maud. Hazrat Musleh Maud set up a number of auxiliary organisations, one of which is Majlis Qudam al-Ahmadiyya UK, which is an organisation that I'm proud to be a part of. Now we're going to meet Sadr Qudam al-Ahmadiyya UK to speak about the activities that Qudam al-Ahmadiyya get involved in.
ऐ हुस्न के जादू मुझे दीवाना बना.
My name is Mudabbir Khalid. I'm a 29-year-old financial analyst and I'm on a journey to discover the life of the Promised Son. Along the way, I'll be meeting experts, tracing footsteps and exploring this significant era in my community.
ऐ हुस्न के जादू मुझे दीवाना बना दे.
Hello, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you too. So I've been advised to do some research on the life of Hazrat Musleh Maud. Now, due to that, obviously as you are head of Qudam al-Ahmadiyya UK, I wanted to ask you about some of the activities that Qudam al-Ahmadiyya get involved in. But first and foremost, what inspired Hazrat Musleh Maud to actually set up these auxiliary organisations such as Qudam al-Ahmadiyya UK?
I think, like you said, they're auxiliaries, right? They're there to support the main structure and body of the Jamaat.
Okay.
And they act as a safety net for the Jamaat. And Hazrat Musleh Maud, by focusing these auxiliaries on particular age groups and particular genders, you're really able to, you can promote and you can come up with plans for tarbiyat and talim according to those particular natures. And the beautiful thing about Qudam al-Ahmadiyya is that it will be youth running an organisation to help the youth of future generations. And Hazrat Musleh Maud has said that the purpose of Qudam al-Ahmadiyya is to ensure that the religious teachings that we have, that they are transferred from one generation to the next generation.
So what's the plans for this one?
So now we're off to Feltham, Bet al-Wahid, another location. So we're covering, I think, about 80 to 85 locations across the country.
Wow.
So next is Feltham, which is Middlesex region. Okay. And hopefully we'll have about 1,800 Khudam al-Atfal participating throughout the UK. So
it's incredible.
Yeah, it'll be good, inshallah. Yeah. I'll see you over there then, inshallah.
See you there, inshallah.
Right, so take care.
वीरानाए दिल को मेरे मैं खाना बना दे मुझको तेरी मखमूर निगाहों की.
So what's that? We're here with Qudam al-Ahmadiyya. What activity is this?
So every year, on New Year's especially, Majlis Qudam al-Ahmadiyya has a program where throughout the country, Qudam and Atfal get together and they do litter picking.
Okay.
It's not like it's a once a year thing, but especially on New Year's Eve, because the night before, you see a lot of the public, merrymaking, and especially the youth. So what we do is that instead of making the mess, we want to go help our community and clean the mess that was, made the night before.
So who instructed and advised these activities?
Hazrat Musleh Maud himself, advised on many occasions to Qudam al-Ahmadiyya that there should be programs where the entire streets should be cleaned up, and he in particular mentioned it in Qadian, and he even said that programs should be arranged where he should be called as well to participate. And we find in history that Hazur did come out and participate in these vakarims as well. On one occasion, Hazrat Chaudhry Zafar Khan Sahib, he was in Qadian, he was coming back from his work, and they had the street cleanup, and he wasn't called. Because Chaudhry Sahib was a respectable individual, eminent in his profession as well. So the Khudam must have thought that, we're not going to disturb him. Chaudhry Sahib went to Hazrat Musleh Maud and he said that, Hazrat Musleh Maud, they didn't call me, and he complained, he's like, they should have called me. So it just shows you that the word of the Khalifa, who, no matter who you are, how important and vital it is, and especially Hazrat Musleh Maud, right, who was, prophesied by the Holy Prophet ﷺ that the Messiah will have a son, and he will have so many different qualities. So it just shows you the relevance of such work.
We do this every New Year's Day.
It's not just the New Year's event. Of course, it's New Year's Eve. During New Year's, we have a proper plan with the councils as well, that they know that the Muslim Youth Association is going to help with the cleanup.
Yeah.
So, like I said earlier as well, so we have about 80 to 85 different locations just today.
Okay.
And another good way, I think Hazrat Musleh Maud mentioned this as well, that by doing stuff like this, giving back to the community, it's a really good way of doing tabligh as well, especially in this day and age where people have such negative concepts about Islam. So it's really important to showcase the true Islamic teachings.
So what other activities do members of Qudam al-Ahmadiyya get involved in?
All sorts. I mean, charity activities. The major focus is what Islam says, to focus on serving our Creator, which is all to do with spirituality. And the second, objective of religion is to serve mankind. So taking both these two broad initiatives in mind, we have all these different projects as well.
How pivotal is Qudam al-Ahmadiyya in not just the propagation of the Jamaat, but in actually running the Jamaat and actually, Ahmadiyya being fruitful
You're a member of Qudam al-Ahmadiyya, right?
Yeah, of course.
So how pivotal has it been in your life?
It's been the basis of my life.
And this is what Hazrat Musleh Maud saw.
Yeah.
He knew that, he foresaw this so many decades ago, that there's going to be a time where the youth will feel so disenfranchised and so depressed with what they have, that he thought that it's best to form a youth organisation that will, ensure that they channel all their energy in the right way.
So you mentioned about, the Qudam being productive members of society.
Yeah.
What other organisations, auxiliary organisations, did Hazrat Musleh Maud establish to help with that productiveness, or that, being for members to be productive?
So you have the three main auxiliaries are Qudam al-Ahmadiyya, Ansarullah and Lajna Maullah. So they have their remits and people and members who are part of, their auxiliaries, right? Yeah. And within those auxiliaries, for example, you have Nasirat al-Ahmadiyya, which is girls under the age of 15. Yeah. Then within Qudam al-Ahmadiyya, you have Majlis al-Ahmadiyya, which are boys under the age of 15. Yeah. So everyone has their remit, has their membership, who they focus on. And and they've all been created by Hazrat Musleh Maud. Okay.
So I've got one last question. MTA is, as we established earlier, it's established in every country where Ahmadiyyat is, right?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, so where there is Nizam, there is MK as well.
Do they operate in the same way?
The Majlis is established across the world, and these activities are taking place across the world as well. And then especially the New Year's cleanup. I know that Germany's doing it. I know other European countries are doing it as well, as in Qudam al-Ahmadiyya from other European countries. So it's not exclusively to Majlis Qudam in the United Kingdom.
It was really eye-opening how Hazrat Musleh Maud organised the Jamaat into the auxiliary organisations and gave the Jamaat a strong structure and foundation on which it could thrive. My next meeting was with Ayaz Mahmood Khan, who was going to give an insight into the extensive works and writings of Hazur's life.
Okay. So far in my research, I've looked into the background of the prophecy, how people at the time responded to the prophecy. I've also spoken and looked into the auxiliary organisations that Hazrat Musleh Maud set up. And we've also looked into how the media received Hazrat Musleh Maud and his companions in London. But I have not looked into or spoken about or read up on the literature of Hazrat Musleh Maud. So could you please give me a brief overview of the work of Hazrat Musleh Maud?
Absolutely. One of the distinct aspects of this prophecy of Hazrat Musleh Maud, in the words that were given to him by Allah the Almighty, was that son who he would be blessed with would be granted in-depth knowledge of religion and also secular knowledge as well. It is written that he would be filled with religious and secular knowledge. And that's so very apparent in the books of Hazrat Musleh Maud radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and also in his addresses and in his speeches and his public discourses. So if we look, for example, we have a 25-volume set, which is known as Anwarul Ulum. And this literally translates into, the English rendering would be the light of knowledge. Anwar is the plural of nur, which means light, and ulum is the plural of ilm, which means knowledge. So this is a 25-volume set which comprises the various books of Hazrat Musleh Maud radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu, which he wrote. Some of these books range, let's say 200 pages, 250 pages. Some of them are very extensive books, like for example, we have Hasti-e-Bari Ta'ala, which is a in-depth exposition on the existence of God, which is about 250 pages. Then we also have small pieces as well, articles and treatises that he wrote that were published in Tashheezul Azan, for example, the magazine which Hazrat Musleh Maud also started. And that's also an amazing legacy that he left behind. And those articles are 10 pages, 15 pages, 20 pages. So we've got a wide range of works spanning from brief things to very extensive books. And on average, we have about, let's say, 10 works in each volume. And if we've got 25 volumes, that's about 250 works right there, which Hazrat Musleh Maud radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu left for us. And Anwarul Ulum is still being published. So there's a lot of unpublished works of Hazrat Musleh Maud radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu which haven't seen the light of day yet as such, because they haven't come out in printed form. So Fazl Umar Foundation is still collecting them and composing them and publishing them in
so there could be a few hundred books or addresses or work of Hazrat Musleh Maud.
Yeah, absolutely. And to think that one man left all of these things behind, and it's not just things which relate to, again, religious works. For example, this is a book, The Way of the Seekers, which is an address that Hazrat Musleh Maud radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu delivered. Again, many of his addresses were delivered at the Jalsas in Qadian and in Rabwa, and then they were compiled. They're also part of Anwarul Ulum, but they have been published separately as well, certain books. So this is a very in-depth exposition on the Islamic concept of morality. Very deep.
So this is a speech, not...
It's a speech.
This is a speech.
This is a
It
speech.
looks quite...
It is. Hazrat Musleh Maud radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu, people that were elders that were from that time, they tell us that Hazur used to speak sometimes for 8 hours.
Wow.
Some of his addresses were 8 hours. And the people would be sitting there at the Jalsa for that extended period of time. Sometimes it would rain, and Hazrat Musleh Maud radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu would go on speaking. His eloquent delivery would be there, and people would be captivated by his eloquence and by his wisdom and his knowledge. So that's something that we have there, which relates to religious. It's a religious topic. But then again, we've got something which isn't, again, for Islam, the religion of Islam is a way of life. So you can't say that something is religious and non-religious. Even seemingly secular topics are deeply rooted in Islamic teaching. So if Hazrat Musleh Maud radhiyallahu ta'ala anhu is writing about the economic system of Islam, this book is, again, it is a lecture. So we wouldn't say that he wrote it, but it's a lecture. And it talks about the concept of the responsibilities which rulers have to those who they rule, and the responsibilities and duties that the subjects of a state have to their rulers. And he talks about the concept of democracy and how true equality can be established if Islamic principles of economics are implemented in the world.
So did Hazrat Musleh Maud receive a formal education? Because it appears that he's written on politics, economy, and a number of different topics.
Very basic. He wasn't a student who really progressed with his class. He had difficulty studying. He had an illness in his eyes for a long period of time as well, which made it difficult for him to sit in the classroom and study. But he was very well read.
Okay.
Hazrat Musleh Maud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu mentions in one of his addresses that this address which I'm delivering to you now is something that has come about after me studying thousands of pages. Hazur mentions that I've literally gone through thousands of pages and then comprised all of those things that I've learned, that I've read, and then I'm presenting it to you now.
Wow.
So Hazrat Musleh Maud radiyallahu ta'ala, and of course the greatest source of his learning wasn't books, it was Allah's knowledge that Allah gave him directly. But of course he read books and he was very well read, and his library spanned many hundreds, thousands of books. We can't even fathom the number of books that Hazrat Musleh Maud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu read, and then the wisdom and points of knowledge that he gave us as a result of that.
So
but again, we shouldn't think that his knowledge was just based on those books. Again, there was a prophecy about him,
of course.
and Allah the Almighty gave him insight into these matters, and then he spoke about world events and
so
things like that.
Did he have a particular interest in a specific topic, or was it spanning from, you know,
literally everything that you can imagine? He spoke about religion and theology. He spoke about philosophical concepts. He spoke about the economic system of Islam. He spoke about, there's another book, The New World Order, Nizam-e-No, in which he talks about various political systems in the world and how the faults that we find in communism and other systems, and how the Islamic system is the best system. Then we have, for example, books on history. He delivered a lecture on a period of history related to the third Khilafat, the Khilafat of Hazrat Usman radiyallahu anhu. When at that time, when he delivered that lecture, the Khilafat of Hazrat Usman is a very controversial period where there's a lot of narrations which attribute false things to the companions of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he really, it's a very intricate topic to talk about, but Hazrat Musleh Maud did so in such an eloquent manner that when he finished his speech, the professor of history who was there at the time, who was sort of chairing the event, he said that I used to think that I am an expert in history, but Mia Mahmood Sahib has delivered a lecture on such a difficult era of history in such an eloquent and intricate way that I feel like I'm a student now. So, and at that time, Hazrat Musleh Maud was a young man. He was in his 30s. But that's one of the amazing things about Hazrat Musleh Maud. This is also a magnificent work which we can't leave out. Tafsir-e-Kabir, the greater commentary of the Holy Quran, the great commentary of the Holy Quran, the great exegesis, if you will. This is a 10-volume set which Hazrat Musleh Maud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu wrote. It is a commentary of the Holy Quran. It spans, as I mentioned, 10 volumes, and we really cannot do justice to, there's nothing that I can say which would do justice to this commentary. You really have to read it to understand the depth of knowledge that Hazrat Musleh Maud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu had. And he discusses the commentary of these verses. He talks about how these verses relate to us and the prophecies that are fulfilled through the verses of the Holy Quran. He discusses every subject that you can think of in this commentary, because the verses of the Holy Quran are related to so many different subjects. And when you read these works, the commentary that he's done of various verses, you just, again, you're astounded how one man could find the time with all of his other responsibilities and leading a Jamaat and all of his other works to sit down and write this commentary. And many people narrate that Hazrat Musleh Maud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu would engage in all of his duties during the day, and then he would sit all through the night writing this commentary, and then he would sleep for 2 hours, 3 hours, and then wake up, and then the whole process would start again from the beginning.
How long did it take Musleh Maud to compile the
this was a project which spanned a number of years. But of course we have this now, which is a magnificent work of Hazrat Musleh Maud radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. This Mashal-e-Rah is again, it's a compilation. It's not something that he sat down and wrote. It is a compilation of all of his sayings in his addresses and in his speeches and in other places which relate to Khudamul Ahmadiyya, Mashal-e-Rah, which I guess translates into as a guiding light. This is a set as well that we have. And this book is also again, this is a book which relates to theological concepts. Essentially, this book, Invitation to Ahmadiyyat, is a book which was written by Hazrat Musleh Maud Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, and it was addressed to the ruler of Afghanistan, Amanullah Khan, and it was presented to him in Persian. And this book contains a very in-depth analysis on the purpose of the community, the background of the community, how it came about, the concept of the coming of the Messiah and the Mahdi prophecies which were present in the ahadith of the Holy Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the concept of the death of Jesus in light of the Holy Quran and the ahadith, of Khatm Nabuwat, the seal of prophethood, and the finality of these are all concepts which we come across when we discuss Islam, Ahmadiyyat with Muslims.
Yeah.
And since he was a Muslim, so this book is it greatly deals with that.
Yeah.
Towards the end of the book, the promise, Hazrat Musleh Maud Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu also speaks about various prophecies of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam, which were fulfilled as well, which established the existence of God and the truthfulness of the promised Messiah alayhi salatu wasalam. So again, I mean, the books, we can go on and on and on talking about the works of Hazrat Musleh Maud Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu, but in a summary, if there's anything that we can grasp from this, is that Hazrat Musleh Maud Raziyallahu Ta'ala Anhu was an ocean of knowledge, and he's left behind works which span all the different topics that you can imagine, religion, secular topics, and even those secular topics, the beauty of Hazrat Musleh Maud's work is that he shows us how Islam deals with these contemporary issues, and how through Islamic principles we can understand topics which seemingly have nothing to do with religion to normal people.
So through all of his work, it seems that Islam was the underlying factor and the base of all of his work, and it helped him actually produce. I mean, I understand that he also wrote some poetry as well, and the poetry is also based around.
I think we saw it. Oh, there it is. Kalam-e Mahmud is a compilation of his poems.
So it appears that all of his work, his secular work, his poetry, everything was based on Islam, and the underlying foundation was Islam. So I really enjoyed, the overview you've given and the insight you've given into the literature work of Hazrat Musleh Maud. So I really appreciate your time and your time. Jazakallah. Assalamu alaikum.